Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this dashboard and how this works. First of all, we discuss that these are telemetry monitors and active execution directives. So, key question is execution directives. Also, there's run a diagnostic audit to regain complete personal sovereignty. So that is the key. So you have 1, 2, 3 telemetry monitors. And underneath that, you can see that it says launch audit, reprogram now. So you're going to audit, in this case, from the first 2 chapters, the clock shop warning. And then secondly, the second concept is the Muhammad Ali subconscious. And then third is the Wizard of Oz illusion. And so you can go and click on the audit, or as I mentioned, these. Also, this is the active foundation matrix. So this is what I believe. And for example, this is from your book, My Life is a Miracle of the Highest Order, and miracles are not to be wasted. So you can see that this is identity. And these are subconscious inputs. I want to rule no man will rule me. That's sovereignty. Dignity. I'm a dignified human being, and I conduct my life as a reflection of that dignity. Now, I'm going to show you view all creeds afterwards. So let's just move up for a second. You can see the blueprint navigation. The master blueprint control, which is where we are right now. There's the clock shop and the Ali metric conscious, Wizard of Oz, which go along with these 3. The creed integration ledger and chapter expansion architect, which we'll talk about. So let's first go to the clock shop warning, and I'm going to launch the audit. So the first thing we do is look at the loop story, and this is of course the one that we wrote about. So here's a story, of course, that you're familiar with in your book. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go down here, and this is the inherited rule, the assumption. So you create an assumption. I'm just going to put here, I'm not going to type anything, but use this one here. It's already built in. To be considered successful, one must accumulate status symbols, drive a high-end luxury car. Well, that's an assumption that to be successful, that's what you have to do. So you put what the source is, in this case, parents, church, whatever, and then they ask you, is this a follow the lead, follow the follower trap? And you would click yes, and then you want to change your mindset here, and so you say that, okay, true success is defined by internal peace and sovereignty, not physical items. So that's what you actually write here in this box here. And then you click on that, and what you're going to do is you're going to get something like on here, such as, I'm supposed to be a good husband and please my wife, so doing so will enable her to love me more. That's the assumption. And then this is corrected, which is, hey, it's important to please your wife, but if it's based upon wanting her to be happy and healthy, then that's okay. But don't assume that you want to please your wife based upon her love towards me. And so that's the independent override. And what we're doing is we're overriding all the bad junk that we have to deal with on a daily, moment-to-moment, decade-by-decade basis. And so when we click that, we get credits up here. So like click on that and this will light up to the next number. So that deals with the issue of the clock shop audit. again, the point is that we've gotten all this junk in our mind. We get it from the source of origins. We go ahead and put it into our mind and our brain, and we have all these assumptions that are just bad. And so what we have to do is we have to correct them, and we do correct them here, and then we click on this here, and we get the bad. This is the bad, and this is the good. And once we have done that, then we're started to actually change things in our own mind, and this thing increases. And so it is a real process of correcting the junk in your brain that has been accumulating for time and time on. So I'm not going to go through the writing process again, okay? But we know that Muhammad Ali's subconscious metric is that the subconscious vision of self is built from thousands of tiny inputs. Overwrite the negative programming with purposeful daily repetition. And that's the point I was making earlier, that it's not just going to materialize, it's built upon the different inputs. Every input will help to overwrite the negative file or the negative programming in one's mind. And so I want to mention that the importance here of the metric is that you're actually doing something. You're not just thinking of how to improve, you're actually putting it into effect by writing about it, which is what you said needs to be done on a daily basis. And also to act upon it in a way that effectuates what you believe to be the appropriate way to act. So it's important here that you inject a belief here, and these beliefs are over here. And the secretary concept is the difference between greatness and mediocrity is very slight. 1 extra inch of mental input over a life yields massive structural outcomes, and Secretariat won by a nose. And so it's like these micro inputs, micro inches of daily mental inputs. So here are some of the identity. These are the inputs. My life is a miracle of the highest order, and miracles are not to be wasted. That's identity. Sovereignty. I want to rule no man. That's sovereignty. And so subconscious input. So if I wanted to track something, that's an input. And again, using the secretariat situation, that I'm training my brain by getting that input. So the Ali metric is based on boxing trainer Dundee insight that under extreme crisis or exhaustion, a person's intellectual reasoning shuts down and their subconscious instinct takes control. But it takes deliberate daily cognitive repetition of core values to permanently overwrite default, unexamined doubts with deep-seated confidence. So next is the Wizard of Oz, sovereignty. And this one, what is the active complaint? Okay, so the Wizard of Oz diagnostic tool serves as a practical mechanism to destroy victim mentalities, complaints, and external excuse making. And so based upon your philosophy, it's designed to catch you at a moment that you find yourself waiting for this deus ex machina, this wizard, like a perfect economy or luck or a business partner to solve your problems. And so this tool here forces you to pull back the curtains on these external illusions and immediately audit the internal assets and tools that you already have. So for example, I can't scale my business because the current local economy is completely flat. So if you look at what tools you have, well, I have 25 years of combined digital assets, an agile operating model, etc. And so you look here, you would put that, you put your information here, what your complaint is, So I'll just go ahead and do that. I'm going to copy this. And is this a situation where we're waiting for an external wizard? Yes. Relying upon an external excuse? Yes. So what are the internal tools that I already control? So like in this situation, I would write, and then the 1-inch action plan. I would say, in this case, so what am I going to do that is action-oriented? So it's not just thinking about it. And so I might, for an action plan, which makes me win, just like Secretariat won by a nose. So the example I'm given here is I'm dismantling the illusion. So reach out directly to, read an article every day, how to succeed in a local economy. So that's the action plan. So you can see, here's the complaint, here is what I have as in terms of sovereign internal assets to overcome this complaint, and then what I can do to improve myself to take advantage of the sovereign internal assets. So those are the three, based upon these two chapters of the book. And then I'm going to click on the Creed Integration Ledger. Okay, so that's, you go ahead and you type in input. So I'm going to just type in, here it is. So by doing that, it turns green, and I get now 5 extra points. So now it's up to 7. And you see this is 8. And so that's basically the way it works. And again, let me emphasize that we're only talking about the first 2 chapters. And so I think the way to do this is to have a website, to put your book up there by chapter, and then associated with the chapter could be a link to take the tests. That's just one example.